This is why you need houses in New World Aeternum. Today I'm going to cover everything about houses, as in what they do, why you need them, and why they are such an overlooked yet very crucial feature of the game. If you do go on to enjoy this video and find it useful, please do drop me a like and a subscribe down below. And whether you are a new player looking at houses for the first time or a returning player looking for a refresh, this guide will have everything you need to know about housing in New World Aeternum. So let's jump into it. What does a house actually provide for you? So if you go into the house, you will actually be able to place down trophies. Now that's probably the main thing for most people, because these trophies give you buffs. So what the trophies will do is give you a buff based on the tier of them, towards a damage type of a certain thing, or towards mining, gathering luck, or whatever gathering skill you've got. And you can also get crafting trophies in here as well as luck trophies. So general luck when you're opening chests and things like that. As the tiers increase of these, they will go up in cost, but they will also go up in potency, so you'll get a higher damage boost, or a higher gathering luck boost, or whatever it is, crafting boost, etc. So eventually you do want to aim for the top level trophies for each of these things. You can have up to 3 houses active at once, and the buffs of the trophies do stack. So if you've got, for example, you're playing on the Fresh Start servers like myself, and you have this plus 3% damage to, let's say, the Beast one for the Hive of the Gorgons raid, this stacks 3 times, so even at the very cheapest, lowest level trophies, that's an additional almost 10% there at 9% damage for having 3 houses active. So it's really important to get that going as soon as possible to be able to maximize your damage and therefore efficiency throughout the game. Additionally to this, your houses serve as a fast travel point, so what you'll be able to do is go onto the map. As you'll see here, there's different fast travel icons here, which is the little home icon next to these. And this is when you've got a fast travel house that you can go to, so any home you own, you can fast travel to it. This is really nice because, as you can see here, if you're in a cooldown, you can pay a very minimal amount of Azoth to be able to teleport back to that, or reset this cooldown rather, and then teleport back to the home. So as you can see, reset it for 18 Azoth, and that is now free to go from anywhere on the map. You do not need to be at a recall point for this to happen, which makes these very, very efficient and very, very good. And of course it means if you spread your houses out, like I've got one in Windswood right now and one in Ebonscale Reach, you are able to then go between these areas of the map much more easily, especially if you're not already at a settlement. If you're out gathering and say there's an Imperial Palace run wanting to go on, you can teleport back to one of your houses, teleport to the shrine, and then run your way up there much more easily. Now of course you can decorate your houses. As you can see here, I've got some different things going on, so different spooky decorations for Halloween, but I've also got my pets down here having a nice relax on the rug in front of the fire. And of course you will notice this storage chest. Now storage chests are a huge addition to your houses. Depending on the tier of houses, which is something we'll touch on in a moment's time, you can put down up to 4 of these, and at tier 4 these give you a plus 1050 kg increase to your bank weight capacity for the settlement that the house is in. So if I head over to this storage shed here and just show you, I have got 2300 here in Windswood. That is of course including my territory standing bonuses, but 1050 added on there for my tier 1 house with a tier 4 chest in. Now you do have to pay upkeep for houses. That is the one thing that some people sort of are worried about in terms of buying a house, but it is a very minimal. You can see here for a tier 1, it's literally 42 gold. As the tiers do increase of the houses, so does the upkeep, but it isn't by much. And what will happen if you don't pay it? Well, you won't go into arrears or anything like that. You will only ever have to pay one payment's amount. But if you don't pay it, you will lose your trophy buffs, you will lose your ability to fast travel, you will lose any storage buffs you've got from chests that you've placed, and you will lose your decoration score. So that's a quick crash course on everything in housing. Now I'm going to dive into it a little bit more. So firstly, we're going to look at your cost versus reward in terms of what tier house should you buy. So, the 5k house that you've got here, this is the first tier that you get, and it's worth noting that when you buy your first house here in New World Aeternum, you will receive a 5,000 coins flat rate discount on any of your first house purchases per character. Now, this doesn't work if you purchase one and then sell one and end up having no houses, and then you buy another one. You won't get the discount again. It's only ever for your first purchase. So I would certainly recommend investing in one of the higher tier, either the 15,000, which is the tier 3, or the 20,000, which is the tier 4 houses, because the 5,000 coins discount will make those effectively the price of a tier below, which is really, really good. And of course means you can place more chests in there. So what do you get for the different tiers? The 5,000 ones look like this house that I've got right here in Windswood. These cost you 5,000 coins. It's a tier 1 house, and what you can place in here is 1 storage chest to increase your storage capacity in a settlement. You will be able to place some decor in here as well. As you can see, all houses, however, regardless of tier, will have access to 5 trophy slots, so that isn't a problem. But like I said, for your first time purchase, definitely go for a bigger house if possible. Then you've got your tier 2 houses like this one here, which cost you 10,000 gold in order to buy it, or of course 5,000 if you're doing your first time purchase discount. These ones allow you to have 2 storage chests in and even more decorations. Then you move up to your tier 3 houses like this one here in Windswood that costs you 15,000 coins. 15,000 coins will get you access to 3 storage chests being able to place down and even more decor. And then finally, as you will see here, we have our very luxurious 20,000 coin or 20,000 gold house, which will also require territory standing of level 30 in order to be able to get this one. Now, you'll see that this has 2 floors. It will also have a garden round the back there. These are like your biggest area if you're into decorating your houses and you want more space, more decoration availability, more lighting availability, because those things are also limited by the tier of house. And of course, you will be able to place 4 of those storage chests. Like you can see, somebody has got one right there. 4 of them, regardless of what tier you put in. Of course, you can upgrade them over time. But do bear in mind, of course, as well as the houses costing more to be able to allow you to place those chests, you do have to actually either craft or buy those chests or find them in the open world, and they can be quite expensive as well, so it's worth taking into account. But overall, you do of course want to have the highest tier houses available to you, which is the 20,000 coin one, with 4 of the highest tier chests available to maximize your storage, as that is going to be one of the biggest buffs for having a house. Now, like I said, all of them do have access to 5 trophy slots regardless. This is a tier 3 house, this is a tier 1 house, and both of them have access to the same amount of trophy slots. So if you are starting out on a character or you're on a fresh start server and money is a little bit tight for right now, buying the tier 1 houses other than your first time bonus, like I said, definitely get a tier 3 or 4 if you can with that discount. But after that, just buying tier 1s to get the trophies down is probably worth it, and then working your way up as you gain more gold in the game is probably the way I would go about doing this. Additionally, for each of the houses tiers that you do, you get a shorter cooldown on your recall to house button, meaning that it will cost you even less Azoth to actually recall or reset that recall cooldown. But to be honest, the recall cooldown reset amount is only ever 20 Azoth at maximum, which isn't that much, so I honestly don't think it's worth it for that front. I just think it's worth it for the chests in general. Now, as well as being able to randomly decorate these houses and put whatever you want in there, which can be its own little thing in and of itself, because it is a pretty decent feature that New World has added with the ability to earn decoration points, and whoever has the most decoration points for that house will actually be shown to everybody else on the server that doesn't own that property, which is a very, very cool thing. So you can kind of see, as I was going around there, the houses had different outlooks and different aesthetics, and that is based on the player with the highest decoration score that owns it, what they have displayed. So that's pretty cool. But you can also put in the trophies, like I mentioned, which give you a tangible buff in the game. Now, like I mentioned, there is different tiers of the trophies. You'll see here you've got things like your minor and your basic, then you've got your major ones, and then you've got your ultimate combat ones over here as well. Now, all of these are going to be at different levels and different price points depending on the server, and of course depending on your crafting ability and things that you've got lucky with in terms of drops. But if we just go into some of the minor trophies here, let's have a look at the minor armoring trophy, for example. These are pretty cheap to pick up. They only increase your gear score +3 when crafting an item that requires armoring, but they are only 200 gold. The materials to make these are also pretty cheap, but that can get you started off. Really, you want to be making the highest tier of the crafting trophies, so things like armoring trophies are not that worth it. However, if you're actually going to be looking for a combat trophy, for example, like I had up before, let's say a human combat trophy, these giving you 3% if you stack this in all of your 3 houses. Like I said, that's a 9% increase, so that is really worth it, and these are also not that expensive. If you then move into the basic ones, this is where the price will jump up a little bit, and this is because they do require a special drop item. So here you can see it's the human digit, and this also will require a higher level of crafting as well as higher tier materials in order to make these. You can see the price point here on my server. This is a fresh start EU server. We're on Draco, so about 2,500. This obviously will vary from place to place depending on how much these materials are and also the rare drops are. And then of course you go up to the third and final tier here, which is your major one. There is currently none of these available, but they will give +5 damage per trophy, so again plus 15% when you have that in each of your houses, which is a huge bonus and definitely something you want. But things like your human idols and those rare materials that you're going to need for these trophies is going to be very difficult to get your hands on. It's going to be a rare job, it's going to be expensive. You need an almost max furnishing crafter in order to be able to actually craft this, and you of course need your tier 5 materials there as well. So these ones are going to be very expensive. So the only one that I've been able to find available on my server right now is a major loot luck trophy, which gives you a large bonus to luck when picking up loot and opening chests. But this is selling for basically 35,000 gold, and that is because the loaded dice are very expensive. You can see here they are 8,000 each, which on a fresh start is quite a lot of money. And then of course you've got to actually craft it with the materials. Now, like you can see here, you can also get the ultimate trophies. These will give you plus 5 gear score when crafting with Arcana, weaponsmithing, engineering, armoring and jewelry crafting, and there is a large chance to craft additional items when cooking. Now, this is pretty good, but you will need a component, the ultimate crafting trophy. You'll also need a major Arcana, a major weaponsmithing, a major cooking, a major engineering, and a major armoring. So one of each major trophy, and you'll need that 3 times in order to get all 3 of these. So again, this is going to cost quite a lot, take quite a lot of time, and is kind of the end game goal to aspire to. You can also get these with the combat ones, so you can get a combat trophy which will give you plus 5% damage to every type of enemy in the game, and you can also finally get on there a gathering one which will give you plus 1500 luck while harvesting, mining and skinning, and plus 5000 luck when fishing. So again, they are very worth it, but this is kind of your end game pinnacle of what you want in your houses when you can get to that point. And finally, if you head over to your bio tab on your character page, you'll be able to see this section here, which is called Town Project Bonuses. Basically, whichever settlement you buy a house in will give you the buffs that that settlement has active for your character. So you can see currently I have Chef's Passion, Lumberjack Spirit and Arcanist Wisdom. Now these are basically decided by the owning company or the governing company of a settlement. They can go over to their town hall and go over to the projects board and set these off, and that is what these town project or town board missions are for. You'll see if we go into it, there's a lifestyle improvement tab. There's no active one here in Windswood right now, but when they are going on, this is what you are sort of putting your materials or your kill quests or whatever it is towards, and that will give everybody that owns a house there a buff. Now you can check what these are from the table here in the middle of the town hall. You can get a 20% yield increase for 3 days for each of the different gathering styles. You can get a crafting buff for each of the crafting ones, and you can also get this Arcane Blessing. The Arcane Blessing is pretty good if you've got invasions coming up or you're trying to really quickly run through some M3 corrupted dungeons, but mainly in the end game it's going to be the harvesting yield and the crafting buffs that you get. Now, my biggest kind of tip or advice with this would be to do a 20 or 15,000 coin house in 2 of the most popular places, so maybe Windswood and Everfall, Windswood and Ebonscale Reach, maybe Cutlass Keys, maybe Brimstone Sands. You will know where the most popular places are on your server, and you want to buy 2 permanent expensive houses there, and then keep a 5,000 cost house that you can move to if and when you need the buffs. We are talking end game here. Right now, just get 3 houses up and going, even if they're all the 5k cost ones, just for your trophies. But end game, you want a kind of movable 5k one. When you sell a house, you do get half the price back, so you can actually change this for the cost of 2,500 coins for your crafting, which obviously when you are doing that endgame 725 crafting, you will need the buff and you'll probably make your money back, so it's much more worth it. Right now, just get down 3 houses so you get in the maximum buffs, your maximum trophy buffs, and the maximum amount of TPs and storage, so you can get all of your stuff set up, especially if you're on that fresh start new worlds, because those are going to be really helpful features for you to have access to early doors. So that's going to be it for everything you need to know about housing here in New World Aeternum. Hopefully you have enjoyed the video. If you found it useful and informative, please drop me a like and a subscribe down below. Let me know if you think I've missed anything in the comments, or let me know where you bought your first house here in New World Aeternum. Other than that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again very shortly on a brand new video. So take care and peace.